real challenge in terms of, trying to find, the balance of pushing, but also having this perspective of kind of going, I woke up this morning pretty darn tired. I suspect they are too, type of thing. And so trying to, realize that, but at the same time, you're trying to win games and you're thinking about your season. And so, I think, just kind of having gone through now almost the entire season, that it's definitely been different than anything I've been a part of. And credit to the players. The young ones, can hang in there, a little bit longer than the older ones, but at the same time, the younger ones are going to hit a wall too at some point. And but we're all in the same boat. That's the thing. And I said this at the start of the season. It's survival of the fittest, and it's both mentally and physically. And I stand by that now, having lived through it. You have to hang in there. You have to mentally stay strong, and have to continue to take care of your bodies if you're the players, and really if you're the coaches too. It was of paramount importance that we felt like that we adjusted our travel schedule, our practice schedule, giving way to sleep, being far more important than anything that we might do together as a team on the court. And so again, I know I adjusted my sleep schedule. I have definitely been more of the mindset that I can't do what I've done in years past. I was a night owl in years past, that I wouldn't hit the hay until 2, 3 in the morning, and then get up at 6 or 7 and start the next day as far as preparation for practice or games or shoot arounds, whatever it is, and then find your rest time in the afternoon. But there's no way that would be sustainable in this season. So even myself, I've encouraged our staff, but having been an assistant coach, you can be well-intended, but when you're up, it's awfully hard to, especially if you've got 2 games in a row, your turnaround time is just so little. And so I think we've all tried to find those places to do better, to make sure that it's our bodies, because I know as a coach, if you're not getting your rest, you're not as sharp. In terms of, the things that you give your team. And so we've tried all to do better. Our flight times are different than at any time in years past. We don't take any early flights, unless I think there was one early flight, but we had 5 days. It was like our bye week. We had time. Otherwise, sleep is of paramount importance. And so it's definitely been a challenge.
Let's talk about your reaction to the All-Star game in Minneapolis, and also the Las Vegas travel fiasco. I do want to thank Shelley Boyum-Breen. You've heard about it before on these podcasts. As Shelley always says, girls' participation in sports fitness is exploding, but the toys they play with and the books they read are not representative of this movement. Did you know that in the U.S., less than 1% of children's picture books published annually have a female character who is physically active? Shelley Bean, the Sports Queen book series, is changing that one book at a time. Follow along in each book as Shelley Bean, the Sports Queen, learns a new sport. It's not easy for her, but she never gives up. And to reward herself at the end of each story, she makes a new sports charm for her crown, proud of what she has accomplished. Then use the tips at the end of each book to learn how to shoot a basketball or ice skate yourself. Meet her best friend Maya and her buddies Parisa and Mason, and don't forget Shelley Bean's trusty little dog Spike. He's always up to something. To purchase your copies or to join the fan club, go to www.shelleybeanthesportsqueen.com. That's shelleybeanthesportsqueen.com, or just search Shelley Bean the Sports Queen on Amazon today. And Cheryl is friends with, I think, both Lori and Shelley, and as I said before, these are the kind of people we like to have representing us and like to work with on this network and on the Cheryl Reeve Show. So, what was the All-Star weekend like for you?
Well, I tweeted following the weekend, as I just ran around and just enjoyed all that was put on. Our business team, led by Carly Knox, the Vice President of Business Operations for the Lynx. I know the amount of time, the energy that went into this thing on the organization side, and then to see the response of our community to come out and support it the way that we did. It was such a memorable event, not just for Lynx Nation, those that are closely involved with the team, but I would say that players from other teams, fans who visited our city from other teams, I know those that watched on ABC, and then there were so many new fans that corporations jumped up and said, "Hey, we want to help," and provided tickets and things to other organizations so that they could experience this. And so just so many ways that I felt we grew our game, so to speak. So women in sport, it was a huge weekend, certainly in the WNBA. It was everything I'd hoped it would be in terms of how hard our organization worked, the way it came together, the environment at the game. I had a chance to be a fan, and I'm actually quite thankful. I would have preferred our team be in the top two so that you could coach the game. But I think things work out the way they're supposed to, and for me to have a chance to just absorb the environment and appreciate the work that went into it, the way our fans came out, the energy in the building, the introductions by our game ops crew. I know that the feedback from the players that played in the game was just, they just felt like a show. It was an unbelievable show. And they actually enjoyed every second being a part of everything that we did for them, whether it be the orange carpet or the reception or the practices. I mean, literally in every way that they were engaged in activities. I've been a part of other All-Star games, and players that come in, you're coming off of a season, and sometimes it's a bit of a grind. And can you imagine in this season, you're running ragged, and all of a sudden you got to go to Minneapolis and take part. And I think we helped them really enjoy and make it a memorable All-Star experience for them personally. And so I just really was just really proud. I was filled, with just, there's so many moments I've been proud of our fans, the way they turned out for us and helped us. This one was right at the top because I thought it was so important what we did. And anybody that viewed the game on TV, or if you were lucky enough to be there, just to feel the love that people had for being at the game and engaging, and whether it was a 3-point contest, we had people in their seats, just a riveting experience to watch Allie Quigley and Kayla McBride put on their show. Allie Quigley was absolutely unbelievable, and it's who she is. I mean, that's a natural thing for her to have NBA players that have watched it and reveled in the success that Allie had. And so it was just all around. It was just something I always say you can never take our championships away from us. Well, this All-Star experience is the same. It was such a great moment for our franchise, something that can never be taken away from us, that feeling that we had of what a success it was. And as we hoped it would be, one of the all-time greatest All-Star game experiences in our league's history.
And it was obvious, too, that you were really enjoying the game and getting, I don't want to say working the crowd, but getting to see everybody in the crowd. You seem, I'm sure you would, as you said, I'm sure you would have liked to be on the sideline, but it worked out pretty well.
It did. And then, because, when I'm at the game in a different capacity, as a coaching capacity, I don't get to, all the fans tell me that they're there when I see them or I hear from them. And but it's different to be able to connect personally and have a chance to say thank you to so many who just absolutely adore the Minnesota Lynx. And so, I so appreciated the time that I had with our fans.
What's your view of the Las Vegas travel fiasco?
Well, when I was asked initially about it as it was going on, and then right after, as we awaited the league's decision around it, I know that it had to be difficult for everybody involved. And so, because I've been, in other travel situations and in contact with the league, for example, just last year around the hurricanes when we were down south and we were in San Antonio when there were big storms coming and we had pending travel situations. And I know what goes into that and how hard that is on the parties that are involved. And that's not only the Las Vegas Aces, it's the Washington Mystics, as well as the league, who wants to do right by everybody. And you kind of get, as a league, you're considering all the information and you're trying to make the best decision possible for everybody involved. And, I've been in the league a long time. And those travel things are very, very unfortunate, but very real as it pertains to commercial travel and things beyond your control. And I did not have all the information. I have since collected a lot of information around it, and so I'm very aware of what went, the Washington Mystics and what they went through as an organization. I'm very aware of the Las Vegas Aces. As you know, I'm friendly with Bill Lambier. I have, way more information now than I had before. Also got some information from a league perspective. And so I think, my easy answer is I would prefer that Las Vegas Aces would have shown up for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's the bigger picture decision. However, that's coming from, my mindset is more of you got to be mentally and physically tough, and you got to, you got to do these things. I also understand the risk, as I just spoke about sleep, and I speak about sleep from the standpoint of not just being competitively where you want to be to perform, but also to take care of your body. And so those things that the Las Vegas Aces were going through was very real. The delays and being at the airport overnight, and the natural reaction is to say, why didn't you just put them in a hotel room? Why didn't you? But they were trying to fly, so they were at the airport, and they had secured a private aircraft. MGM was providing their private plane for them to be able to get to Washington and get there, and hopefully, even if you're there early in the wee hours of the morning, at least you get to get an extended period of rest and go play the game. However, and I don't know air traffic control and all the reasons they do what they do, but I'm told that they would not let the private aircraft go ahead of the commercial aircraft. So they could not carve out a space. Now, I don't know. I know Bill Lambier and his ability and his connections, and I know MGM is pretty powerful here in Vegas.
Yeah.
It seemed to me that, the chairman of MGM could go call up air traffic control and say, look,
Yeah.
I know you got some rules, but this baby's going. We got to get our Las Vegas Aces to Washington, D.C., because there are exceptions to many rules.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't, for whatever reason, those things weren't able to happen. And so next thing you know, they're aboard the private aircraft on two different occasions, trying to get out unsuccessfully, and then wind up on a commercial aircraft in the morning, trying to get, I think, and I'm aware of this because this is how it works. You start to go, okay, this particular time we can get on it, but we can only get 9 of us on there or 12 of us on there, whatever it is. Now you begin to break up your group and you go, look, we just got to get there. And you begin to prioritize what that looks like. Maybe a group's on a nonstop. This other group might be on a connection. You begin to problem solve. And it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. But you're trying to find a way so that you can get there and play the game that you're scheduled to play. So, they did arrive. I told you, we arrived to Seattle on a back-to-back. We did have a chance to be in a hotel room, different than Las Vegas Aces. But like I said, we got to, Seattle. It's tough. Back-to-backs are tough. And, the Aces were not on a back-to-back, but, they obviously were, they played Phoenix at home. They were in their own beds. They went through their, normal routine on a travel day. But then it became difficult. I would have preferred to see Las Vegas Aces shine light on the very, very challenging situation that they went through, be aware of what our CBA says, and we don't have a rule that protects them the way that the NBA has a rule in the CBA. Okay, you go, all right, we don't have a rule, we got to play. But we got to fix this darn thing next time we gather and we talk about negotiations. So I would have preferred that my team played the game. And at the same time, I also know that team doctors get involved, trainers. And as a coach, now you're probably not singularly making that decision. Your players are probably coming to you, and the trainers and the docs are going, hey, you got a problem. And so as that kind of took shape, there was far more than just a simple decision by the coach going, hey, I'd love for my team to play the game. Certainly from a league's perspective, very challenging for them. I know that they preferred that the